Infinity Crafters, Sam here. We're going to do a bit of a demo today on chipboard. So this piece of chipboard is pre-painted, and we'll get to that in a second. But I started out with this chipboard from Southern Ridge Trading Company. It's got a bunch of different farm animals on it. I'll show you the final product, just a card that I made up. But each one of the techniques to color the chipboard, I'll go through that right now with some of the larger animals. So the first layer on this cow is pre-painted white. I used just picket fence white paint, and the other side just looks like your basic chipboard, but this is the paint that I used in the dabber top. So this is black soot, so this little cow is going to get some black spots. So it's just easy enough to do. You just dab it on there. So if you had a paintbrush, you could totally use a paintbrush. I just wanted to go the easy route for my own self and put some spots on it. So you could cover this up, the whole entire thing, or just a few spots. Once it dries, you got yourself a spotted cow. Now, of course, not every cow has to be spotted, and you can do it however you like. But that's just a super quick, easy way for me to show you how fast it is to paint your chipboard. So I'm going to move this off frame and get ready to do my second technique, which is embossing. So I'm going to bring in the sheep, and you're going to need an embossing pad, Versamark. There's a bunch of different ones on the market, and some embossing powder. And all I do is push the sheep chipboard. If you got all sorts of different ones in there, and you just want to make sure that he's all covered in the embossing ink. Some people call it glue, some people call it ink. You should be able to see on the front that it's a little bit shinier or possibly darker than the original color you started with. That's how I tell if I have enough on there. Okay, so I'm going to put the cover on that and set it offside. Okay, and now this part, pretty easy. Just gonna put some, this one is called Snowflake Tinsel from Ranger. Kind of get him out of the embossing powder. Dump off the excess. And I'm just gonna go over here a little bit. Okay, turn on my heat tool. This shouldn't be too noisy. And what you're gonna do is heat it until you just see a little bit of a texture change. So you'll see it go from matte to shiny. It's a little bit difficult sometimes just because, well, I'm working with sparkly stuff because I love sparkly stuff. But you can see it starting to change there now, and it's getting to be a brighter white than it used to be. And because I didn't clean up my mess, I'm blowing a little bit of embossing powder over the table, but that's okay. So you can see the little bit of a difference there, the white, and then the creamy color, that's the unheated stuff. So I'm using the heated craft tool to heat this. There are a lot of different embossing tools on the market. This one gets just as hot as the rest of them, but it just doesn't have the volume of air. So that's kind of how I can work on this without cleaning up my mess like I should have. All right, I think that's got it. So I'm going to turn that off and pick this up. And look at that amazing little sheep. Isn't it just awesome? Super sparkly. Okay, so now I'm just going to bring in another mat. I'm going to move this mat offside, bring in another mat, and then I'll show you the last technique. And that's using glitter. Okay, so I'm using the pig, and as you can see, it's pink already. So when you're working with glitter and chipboard, you don't always have to do it this way, but I like to pre-paint my pieces because I'm going to use pink glitter, and pink glitter on top of chipboard color doesn't really give me the pop that I want. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-paint my stuff and let it dry. To put this on, you can use basic wet glue, you can use LePage's, you can use spray-on adhesive. What I'm going to use is the Distress Collage Medium, the matte, just because it's pretty easy to maneuver around. So I'll get it on here, squeeze some out, and I'm going to use a brush and just make sure that I get it all over this little pig. So with the distress paint that I used to get the pig covered in the first place, once it's dry, it's permanent. So I'm not worried about messing up the first paint layer on this pig. Okay, so I got my glue on there, and then all I'm gonna do is I'm using this Wow Cotton Candy glitter. I'm just gonna cover this pig with glitter. Pick him up, kind of give him a little shake to make sure that I got glitter everywhere, and tap him off. There! Who doesn't love a cotton candy pig? That is so cute. Okay, I'm going to bring back all the animals and just kind of give you a quick recap. Okay, so the cow here was pre-painted white, and then I used a quick bit of paint to put spots on. Of course, if you take more time, you can get the cleaner lines. I was just doing it really quick for show. And then we've got our embossed sheep. This one's really quick. You don't have to pre-paint. Any embossing color you got, you're good to go. And then last but not least, this little piggy got sparkly. Just pre-paint it, glue and glitter. Thanks guys, see you next time.